Okay.
Okay, stream is starting. We are probably already live on your side. Just waiting for mine to...
Hello, world.
Do we have live mics?
Yeah.
Are we live?
Yeah. Mike should be live. I'm just not live up my end yet. Going live now.
Up your end. You said
okay.
up your end.
Okay, so hold screen is on for a moment while I finish getting this stuff up.
How's everyone doing tonight? Wonderful? Good.
Your live chat can't be that fast to react.
Oh, they are. They're on it.
I don't even think it could have streamed to them.
I'm answering for them.
Oh, I gotcha.
Hello, Sean. Hello, Smitty. Hello, Riley. YouTube Surgeon General. Heat Shield.
Hello, Owen. Thank you for modding tonight, as well as Erica. And I think that's it for the moment.
And Intellectual Iconoclasm. I can never say your name's a mouthful. And RJ.
Okay, I think we're good to go.
This could be fun.
Yeah, should be a good time. Yeah. Let's do this. No opening music this week.
Because why?
Because Kyle. Because of Kyle.
That's right. My fault.
Do you want to explain it to them?
Yes. How do I say this?
Good explanation.
Copyright claims on my end. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a music library that I pay for access to that Kyle doesn't, and so we were using one from mine, and it turned out that they were copyright claiming Kyle's videos each week. Though then he had to cut it out. He didn't lose his revenue or anything over it, which is good.
Yeah.
You go ahead and introduce what we're talking about. I'm going to go in and do some last moment stuff because I did apparently forget to put slow mode on the chat and other things. So,
sure.
Yeah. Oh, there's us in the background. There we go.
Number one, welcome everybody. Jimmy, it's good to see you again. Hope you're doing well.
Always. Yeah.
We're going to be talking about the Mormons going gay today. They found the rainbow tablets.
I wish that's what I'm not going to lie, Kyle. I was excited that you wanted to do this topic because I was really nice to them on Thursday because I wasn't really doing an episode about what's changed. I did a policy about I did a video rather about the policy change, but I then made it about what I think the future of the Mormon Church looks like, not about what I think of the actual policy change. And y'all gonna get to see some rage tonight. That's what I know.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I always like it when Jimmy rages out.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a funny. It's a very interesting story. I question their motives, and I look forward to really diving into this whole entire ordeal because it is an ordeal.
Yeah. Any announcements for the week coming up?
Just tomorrow you can join Shannon and I. We will be talking to the president of Atheist Republic, Mr. Navabi, and that'll be good.
Cool. And throughout this week, you're going to get to see little bits and more bits of my new studio and everything going on here. And Kyle, I'm not going to tell you what it is because it would ruin the surprise. There is the distinct possibility it'll actually be next week, but I'm going to try and make it this week. I have something that I think is going to be really funny that you're going to really enjoy to kind of show off the new flexibility I have in my new studio and new space, but with a twist and a spin to it that I really think that you're going to appreciate. I think you're going to enjoy it.
You have to tell me. You can't do this. You know how impatient I am.
It would genuinely ruin it. It would genuinely ruin the surprise. I'd rather titillate you.
Titillate. What a good word, by the way. It's a good word.
It is a good word. You must be titillated.
Did you have any polls go up? Interesting polls go up this week.
I don't think so. Let me go double check. I have seriously been so neglectful of everyone and everything this week because I've just been trying to get this place to functional, and it is now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still a little bit more to do decorating wise. I'm still waiting for a couch to arrive. But I've been really neglectful. Actually, if we can talk about some news stuff though, I definitely want to talk about the news of the week if you're down.
I am always down.
Okay. Have you heard about the leaks for the Mueller report? Now, the Mueller team leaking for the first time that they are not remotely satisfied with William Barr's summary of the report.
I have not heard this. I have made it a point this week to turn off all news because it just got to a point where it was driving me crazy. So I have not actually heard this.
So basically, the week before, we had all this like, oh, Trump totally exonerated. That's what the letter says. No collusion, no conspiracy. Because remember, it technically doesn't prove no collusion. It would be no conspiracy as in they didn't meet and decide to do these things together. That doesn't mean the same as no collusion. It means that Trump never sat down with Putin and was like, here's how we're going to undermine the elections. Putin just took it on himself, and Trump was clearly the enthusiastic recipient of such help. But anyway, basically, William Barr comes out with his 4-page summary and it's like, totally exonerates the president. There's no collusion and there's no obstruction of justice. And now this week, after all of that and people being like, wow, I guess he really didn't collude with Russia, and I guess there isn't a case for obstruction, the leaks from the Mueller team were that is a ridiculous, basically a ridiculous summary of the report. And so shit's, I think, about to hit the wall, if you ask me. I think some stuff's going to go to, I was so discouraged, but I think some shit's going to go down.
Here's the question though. If that's true,
yeah.
What is Barr thinking, putting out a statement that is on its face false, knowing that they're gonna it's gonna come out that it is false? You know what I mean? Like he's blatantly making a move to make it seem like it's something that it's not.
He's already doubled back and basically said like he doesn't like that people are trying to treat his summary like it was a summation of all the stuff, that it was his reading and his interpretation of it. Essentially, he doesn't like that people. Summary means? Exactly, he doesn't like that people treated his summary like it was a summary and held him to it. So, but you're talking about William Barr. This is the guy who, you remember that time Reagan committed treason with the Iran-Contra thing? This is the guy who helped with all of that as well. So the guy doesn't really have a soul. It's not, yeah. I mean, no one has an actual soul, but I digress.
So there could be possible collusion then still.
I think I think they probably were reacting more to the obstruction of justice. But we'll see. There definitely could be stuff in there. Remember that Mueller decided not to indict anybody else, which kind of makes it look like the collusion stuff probably isn't coming, because I feel like I had enough information to make a strong case against Donald Jr. with the Russia meeting in Trump Tower. So sure. The fact that he didn't get indicted makes me think there's probably not more collusion stuff. I wouldn't be surprised, though, to see a summary where that it was like the president did not conspire with Russians, but was the enthusiastic recipient and glad to be the person the Russians decided to help out. I wouldn't be surprised if it's something like that. Here's
the question, though.
Yeah.
Do you... if there is a case for obstruction of justice,
yeah,
which is better, and he does get impeached, let's say he gets impeached, are you okay with Mike Pence becoming president? Like, who is worse here?
Of course not, but at least we would return to some level of normalcy. Mike Pence, keep in mind, isn't that much different than like a George W. Bush. A lot of people seem to think that Mike Pence is like some radical new thing. George W. Bush tried to exclude gay marriage via the Constitution, tried to run a constitutional amendment to stop gays from getting married. So there would be some level of normalcy. There would definitely be because Trump runs just like a dictator. I mean, he is loyalty is number one, that kind of stuff. You would at least get to some level of normalcy in the time remaining. And running against Pence, if he decided to go for re-election in 2020, I think with anybody, you could take absolutely anybody from the Democratic side and wipe the floor with Pence.
This is true. What worries me about Pence, though, is number one, he believes that the Earth is 6,000 years old.
Of course,
and he calls his wife mother. No one should ever be president that calls their wife mother. Again, what do you think about the Biden thing, though?
Real quick,
that hit this week.
Let's talk about that in a moment. Real quick, Pence. Don't get me. I don't like Pence. Pence is what I consider a survivable event. I don't consider Trump. I'm amazed we've survived this long. Trump is actively destroying America in a lot of ways. And so that is why I would rather see Pence through the end of it than anything else. However, I think it won't be this obstruction stuff. It's going to be something we find out from the taxes that's going to get him impeached, because this week they subpoenaed his taxes, and now you have Mick Mulvaney coming out saying the Democrats will never see these taxes. We are going to block, and they can't. The IRS actually has the law. It doesn't require shit, and not to mention, they did this. The Republicans did this to Obama. Obama had released his personal taxes, but not the taxes from an organization he worked with. And without reason, the Republicans looked for subpoenaed those tax returns. And there was obviously nothing in it. So it's not a new game, and it's not something they actually can turn down, because nothing about the law says they even need a good reason to do it. So
here's the thing about the taxes. This is what I think. This is just my opinion. I don't think that he's hiding his taxes because there's some sort of backdoor business deal there. I think he's hiding his taxes because it's going to reveal that he doesn't make as much as he claims he does, and that to me is a bigger blow to his ego than him, sort of hiding a kind of business deal. It's going to show that he's not worth nearly the amount that he says that he is. Which
everyone already knows that that's the case, because he's been open about how, like, he, depending on his mood, will say something is worth something different at one time or another. I promise we're going to get to the Mormonism stuff. 100%. We're going to get to the Mormonism stuff. What was the other thing you wanted to talk about?
Biden.
Oh, okay. Biden. Biden is a creepy dude in his bubble stuff, but I think he is going to and will take the correction, and I would enthusiastically still vote for Biden. This is not sexual assault that we're talking about. We are talking about somebody being creepy and uncomfortable. And by the way, I would be creeped out and uncomfortable. I hate to be touched. I genuinely am working my way up. If I am able to make it to Faithless Forum at the end of this month and other events in the future, I know a lot of people are going to want to touch me, because for some reason people want to hug you when they meet you. And so I of all people, cannot stand that. I think we've seen that. I know you are. Well, I mean, you and I have different physical boundaries for other reasons. But absolutely is a dude who had to learn boundaries, should have learned boundaries. And by the way, I won't mince words here. It definitely also was enabled and empowered by an environment and I'm trying to think, a culture of that it is okay for people in power to just go past these boundaries, and that's why he wasn't met with resistance up to now, and that was bad. And so as long as I see him correcting it, if he's going to come out and Trump and just like, no, those women are just trying to whatever, that would be, obviously I'd turn my back on him. However, if he takes the lesson and he stops being a creepy old dude with how much he touches people, then I see, again, I would still, if he ends up being the nominee, would enthusiastically vote for Biden over virtually anybody that could be the right-wing nominee, keeping in mind that it's most likely going to be Trump. I do like, though, that as a Democrat, obviously we hold our politicians to a way higher standard than the other side. Like, we're sitting here going like, no, the fact that you touch people in this way, that you get in their bubble too much, that is uncomfortable, and you are using a position of power that you may not have known, because people don't necessarily know in places of power that they're overstepping these boundaries that are normal boundaries, but that you have to stop that and do that. Meanwhile, on the other side, they're totally fine with this guy who has 17, I think it is, women accused and accusing him and suing him for sexual assault. So I do like that we have a side that has a much higher standard for the way you behave yourself. I'm not the kind of person who thinks you can look through the lens of history through the lens of you can't look through history with the lens of 2019. As a person who used to be a piece of shit and has become hopefully a good person, I extend the possibility of redeemability to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I go.
I agree with that. Sure.
I hear myself echoing a little bit on your end. You know why?
You sound fine to me.
I think I'm hearing my feed coming back through your mic somehow.
I don't know how I have headphones in.
Yeah. All right. Well, fine.
It's weird.
Let me see if it's anything
it's
on
me.
my end. That's my mic. That's your mic. Okay. Mormonism.
Uh-oh.
Mormonism.
Are you getting angry already?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, what do you think about it?
Do you want to introduce the story?
Yeah. So they voted to. It's maybe you should, since you're the Mormon guy. I think you could probably have a more comprehensive viewpoint from how they used to do things, and then I'll tell you what I think about why they did what they did.
So I can tell you that growing up, I was in plenty of meetings where something was on the line, and this got huge around Proposition 8, where the bishop would read a letter from the first presidency telling people to vote and to call their senators and to try and protect heterosexual marriage, basically, cishet marriage. And I mean, directly, unapologetically, religions directing their people to go and do political things. Also, keep in mind that there was a good amount of time where you would be ejected from BYU if you just voiced that you supported gay marriage, and if somebody found out you supported gay marriage. Not that you were yourself gay, not that you yourself had a gay marriage, just that you supported gay marriage. Now, in 2015, as everything is, as the country is moving on, we have this landmark Supreme Court decision that says nobody gets to illegalize this. That's absurd. A huge victory for love and the LGBTQA community. Everything is kind of looking up, and the Mormon Church comes along and goes, we're just going to fucking throw gas on the fire. And they come out with a policy that says children of gay parents cannot receive their baby blessings, which is something the church does. I can explain that a little bit more to you if you like. But their baby blessings can't be baptized. Basically, they can attend meetings, but they can't participate as the member of the church until they turn 18 years old. And then they have to not be living with their parents who are, quote unquote, living in sin. And additionally, they have to renounce those parents and their ways and the things that their sinful lifestyle. That was put into place in 2015. Now, 4 years later, it's 2019. I don't know why I said that, like people don't know, but maybe people are going to be watching this in 5 years. Who knows? One can only hope. It's 2019, and they decide to reverse the policy. And the way the church is spinning it, the way a lot of the members are spinning it, and the way a lot of the media, at first at least, was spinning it, was as though, hey, look, the church is catching up. The church is progressing. This is like taking a person and holding them up as a hero because they put out a fire in a house that they intentionally started.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's the story. I'll let you.
Do you think that this is a way to sort of not have it affect the coffers?
Yes, and I think it's going to backfire. Zelf on the Shelf did a really good video on this, and let me just say that, like, So I try to always give credit where credit is due. I'm worried that some of my thoughts tonight will be mixed with some of their thoughts too. So let me just say in general, everyone should watch Zelf on the Shelf's episode about this, because undoubtedly I'm going to accidentally steal a thought of theirs and forget it was theirs versus mine. And a lot of it's because that we have the same thoughts, but Samantha, especially over there, Tanner, just in love with, but Samantha articulates things so well. They're both beautiful, beautiful people.
They are.
Samantha, there's certain things she articulates really well. Like, I've stolen the phrase from her a million times, that when I was investigating the church and trying to figure out if it was true, I did so with the bias that the church was true. And that's basically the way she had phrased it in the past. And I had said similar things, but hers was more concise. So I'm just trying to give out that warning now, because I try never to unintentionally steal the words of others. But so they have a really good episode on this as well. It's not going to work, but yes, I do think it is. They have seen a hemorrhaging, that's definitely a word Samantha used, of people leaving the church over this. And what's really funny is it's not just the children of gay parents that are leaving, it's the parents of gay children who are leaving too. And so this is definitely them trying to stem the flow of this hemorrhage. And it's not going to work, because now you are taking, so this is something that Samantha pointed out, and is just a brilliant and really good point. The church has made the people stick up for these shit policies. The church has made the membership go to bat and say, we know this looks homophobic, we know it looks bigoted, we know this looks terrible, but here's why it's actually good, and here's why it's actually loving. And there are people who, I know one of them, we're quite good friends actually on Facebook. I have a friend on there, I won't say his name, but I'll message him later to be like, if you watch, I'm talking about you, who has been very uncomfortable with these policies. I asked him directly, I was like, why do you think this was reversed? And he said, I don't know, I'm just glad it is. People who have been uncomfortable having to stick up for this, I don't think he actually ever did, but stick up for it. I think he usually went with, I don't know, I hope things get better. But a lot of them have had to be like, listen, this is God's church, this is God's idea of family, this is God's idea of what things are supposed to be like. And they've had to stick up for bigotry, and now the church is basically like, hey, listen, don't ask why, but our bad, we're just going to turn this one around after, mind you, sorry, Kyle, I promise, if I'm talking too much, just tell me I'm talking too much. Okay.
Look, this is an outlet for you, because you are, as a Mormon and somebody that is also in the LGBTQ community, it's good for you to be able to have these vents. So I'm just prompting you, and you rant. Yeah. Okay.
This is after Russell Nelson is the current president and prophet. And this is the guy who talks about how he just gets so much revelation, when we now know, and this is something Mormons will deny all the time, that what he's basically doing is, for years and years, he was at odds with the other prophets and stuff, but they never publicize any conflict. But he didn't like, for example, members of the church being called Mormons. He's the one who started this new LDS thing. He wasn't the guy who got this revelation that this had to be done. It was Thomas Monson, the guy who died the next year in 2016, before he became president. And but Nelson was the one who came out and said, by the way, this was prophecy. This was revelation, and this was God telling Thomas Monson that this is where we need to go with this, that this policy is important. 4 years later, you're going to turn around a bigoted policy without an explanation, without words to what happened. Were you just being a bigoted old fucking fuck who can't get over the discrimination that was installed to you from the ages of, let's say, 8 to 30? Because that seems to be the case, where people in those years, the things they learn to hate stick with them for the rest of their lives oftentimes. What is it? What happened? Is this like Brigham Young with all the racist stuff he said? Are you going to say it was us acting as men, not as prophets, and it was our own biases getting in the way? Or are you saying that God changed his mind? And if so, you have a lot to answer about for the fucking nature of God who you claim to communicate with.
I have my now does this change their stance on homosexuality any? Like,
No.
are they going to? Okay, so
This means that as of right now, they have whatever their policies were in 2015 before this policy went into place, that's what it is now. Remember, last year they tried to pull Proposition 8 again in Australia. They are still fighting against gay marriage. They still have anti-gay policies at their schools. We talked about the honor code, the BYU honor code yesterday on our live show. It is still, you still cannot go on a date or plan to date a person of your gender after you leave the school, or they can withdraw and hold your degree. The only thing that has changed is that they added a new policy that was even worse, that was even more bigoted, and punished the children of gay parents, and then made those children choose between the church and their parents. The only thing they've done is reversed that new policy. This isn't progress when they lit the fucking fire they put out.
Right. So why is it, do you think, that the news is so quick to label this as a turning point in the church? Like this is some new beginning of a golden age a rainbow age for the Mormon Church.
So, okay, so there is one thing to be said here, and that is the church did buckle to social pressure, which means they're going to do more as it progresses. I don't know if it's possible to happen under Nelson, because Nelson is straight up trying to take people back to the 1800s. Last year's General Conference, he asked women only to take, I think it was a 2-week hiatus from social media right leading up to the election, because it was something along the lines of like the noise of the world. You need to get away from the noise of the world at one of the most important times to be not just listening, but speaking into the noise of the world. And again, just women were encouraged to do that. There is a guy in the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. His name is Christofferson. And he has a brother who was a gay man. I say was, and that's obviously absurd, but lived a gay life for decades with a partner. And then once after that relationship didn't work out, as an old man, returned to the church, now is committed to a life of celibacy, again, after decades of not doing that, committing to a life of celibacy, and is held up as like the success story of how you can be a gay Mormon and the church be happy with you. Again, there's a lot about that is absurd. However, this apostle has always loved this brother, and I would suspect once this apostle either makes it up into the first counselors, because the prophet gets to have 2 counselors, or becomes the prophet himself, that you will actually see a total reformation of the way the church treats gay people. But right now you have in place a fucking homophobic person out of the 1800s who wants to see women as mothers and housekeepers and homemakers, and wants to see men as being men, and it was around during those decades from the timeline of them saying that homosexuality is gender confusion, and you can't be gay because God wouldn't put a female spirit into a male body or a male spirit into a female body. All things that were directed by the church, that the church was behind, even the national propaganda of. The church. Go ahead. Sorry.
Here's the thing that I find very sort of telling, and that is because the imminent threat of the membership going down, therefore the offerings are obviously going to go down. What does that say about God's policy, or the sort of standard that God sets for? Because traditionally, anything to do with being gay is frowned upon very sternly, until it comes time to it's threatening the money that the church is coming into.
Right.
Then it becomes flexible. Then we can sort of go around what God says and make it work. Right. So what does that say about what they're really up to, or their main objective really?
So the way this church runs the narrative, it's that everything that was wrong in the past was because the prophets were unfortunately human, that the prophets themselves weren't perfect. And so at times they were mistaken. So things like Brigham Young being a vile racist. Literally saying that black people will never be able to get to heaven except as servants to white people. And so that was, him just being a racist piece of trash. And this is only some of the people that are willing to admit that. Other people are just like, we just don't understand. It's God's ways. 1978, God changes his mind about black people, and now they can participate in the priesthood. For the years after that, including when I was at the church, it was taught that it was because they were cursed, because they are descendants of Cain. But in 1978, God decided that the curse was no longer necessary and it could be lifted. Now they pretend that was never a part of the doctrine, that the curse thing was never a part of the stuff. They even like to pretend that God doesn't use skin color as curses anymore, even though it literally happens in both the Bible and the Book of Mormon. So I don't remember your original question.
It was just going to like how flexible God's
right.
Sort of what he says is when it comes down to like it's the social pressure. They're not going to cave, wherever the direction that the country's going in, obviously. But when it comes down to the money, when they're you're threatened with a mass exodus of people, and it's interesting. I pulled up because I saw this earlier in the week, but there's a study that found that 40% of Mormons in the United States support gay marriage in 2017, which is up 27% from 3 years earlier. And among Mormons between the ages of 18 to 29, the acceptance is 52%. So as that older generation kind of dies out, do you think that with this new generation being more than half thinking that it's okay for gay marriage, do you think that they'll swing in a direction where they'll lift all, ban on sexual?
So
Gotcha.
While social pressure and monetary pressure are separate, it's always one and then the next. And so this is what I talked about in my video this week. It's that basically this is the direction society is going. And by the way, like the generational stuff, undeniably, it's new generations are more progressive than the generations past. But in the case of things like this, the whole reason why the attitude about gay marriage and gay people in general has changed isn't quite the same as other social movements. Took a lot longer to see that amount of change because you had to convince people about things that didn't interfere or change their life in any way. But the difference with this movement is that people had gay siblings and gay children and gay friends, and people started it became a not am I denying gay people the right to marry? Am I denying my son, daughter, sibling? You know what I'm talking about? Family, friends.
Yeah.
Am I denying these rights to them? And that's what changed everything so quickly. And I think it's only going to continue because of that, because of the quick change so far, that 15 years from now, I think it will be absurd. It will only be kind of like right now, the number of people who just truly, not who do racist things, because unfortunately there's a lot of people who don't even realize they do racist things, but the number of people who truly still hate gay people and still preach against that. I think in 15 years that will be much like the racists of today, the truly vile racists, like the KKK, the white supremacists, the worst of the racists, because there is a gradient, and there are some racists are worse than other racists, and I think it will be to that level of absurdity. So the church, to maintain political power, because they love the money, but they love the political power, and that political power has always required people to move those engines. And yeah, it'll definitely take.
I wonder, this is the thing that I wonder about the most though. So you have a religion, in this case, the Mormon Church, that actively preaches that being gay is wrong, right? That this is a sin and this is frowned upon. Yet you have members there that now with this new change in policy are obviously gay. What is the mindset with someone that is willing to be a part of something like the Mormon Church, knowing that they actively preach against who they are as an individual?
So the hard part is they are going to, I'm trying to think of how to put this. The hard part is that the way they preach it is a bait and switch, especially now. Now you can be a gay member of the church, but you still have to follow God's plan, and God's plan is either heterosexual marriage or celibacy. And you can pick, you can still be gay, you can have those attractions, you just can't sin. And then they're going to go with remember, I'm not allowed to sin either. I'm not allowed to do such and such and such and such. And they'll list it off as though it's the same, even though if they're heterosexual, they are allowed to see the resolution and expression of that identity at some point in their life. And they're saying gay people cannot. This is... it's a bait and switch. They get you in and they act like we still love them. We want them to be here. We don't want them to leave the church. You know what? I just have to show you a fucking moment of a video here because,
Sure.
Yeah, you talk and I want to pull this up and show you what kind of fucking bullshit they pull.
I just know that ultimately that is what sort of made me leave. It was large in part due to the Southern Baptist policy on, or the things that they would actively preach about gays. That was a big reason why I left. And I'm just trying to get into the mindset of, yes, this policy does sort of reverse an archaic homophobic policy, but their policy towards homosexuals has not changed. Like they're not coming off the base fact that they consider it a sin. So I can't understand the mindset of somebody that actively thinks that this is a good thing because when their base policy is still against who they are as an individual.
I can already tell you that I can feel myself getting super angry again about this video I'm about to show you. This is a video. Sweet. Yeah. It may range from rage to tears. We'll see. This is a video, and this is the kind of shit they do. I am a Latter-day Saint. I am LGBTQ. This is what I know. And actually, I'm going to pause real quick. At first, it is not going to seem like... It took me seeing this at first and going, oh, that's stupid. And the more I thought about, the more pissed off I got.
Great.
Yeah. Can you hear that okay?
I can.
I can't wait to get a copyright strike from the Mormons.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
it's so coming.
Here's the setup. This is a text message. I just came out to my parents. I'm visiting them today, kind of freaking out. You got this, praying for you.
Oh, hey.
Right. So this is meant to be, this is the gay guy. His parents are going to open the door, which, by the way, who knocks on their parents' door?
Yeah, I was going to ask that very same thing. Like
I visited my parents for the first time in 2 years, like 2 months ago, and I just walked in. I just walked into the house.
You can tell me about that. How'd that go?
Oh, it was fine.
I know that my Redeemer lives.
So this song is a song that when you're a Mormon, it's a beautiful sounding song. The lyrics are nonsense, but it's, I know that my Redeemer lives. What comforts this sweet sentence gives. He lives who once was dead. I know that my Redeemer lives. And again, this is, I'm an LGBTQ, and this is what I know.
What comfort this sweet sentence gives.
We also can't let it go too long or we for sure will get copyright struck. But
Coach is already.
The song is fucking beautiful. It's a beautiful sounding song. We'll give it another moment and as the fucking harmonies come in.
He lives who once was dead. He lives, my ever-living head.
Jimmy's about to
I'm waiting for the turn here.
He lives to bless me with his love.
All right, that's enough of that. Let's switch back to this. You go ahead and give your thoughts first, and then
I'm confused about what I was what I was watching here.
Okay.
Does he go in and does he explain? Okay, is this a video that the church put out? Number one,
I believe so. It's from a thing called North Star International. It's one of their things. It's a faith-affirming resource for Latter-day Saints addressing sexual... Oh, yeah, fucking North Star. It's the new version of, what was it called? Like Green World or some shit before? It's the offshoot of what they used to do gay conversion therapy through. Or it's another one of their come to us when you're gay.
Is the point of this video supposed to make it seem like they're all inclusive with people who are gay?
Yeah, it is part of that bait and switch. But let me tell you what this fucking video is. This fucking video is exploiting the fucking pain and absolute shit these people have had to go through as you see first a gay man, a lesbian, then presumably another lesbian who winks to a trans woman on a bench, and then they switch to a gay harmony choir, exploiting these people who have gone through shit to try and make the church look inclusive, literally at the end to say, it doesn't matter that I'm gay. Yes, that's fucking difficult. It doesn't matter that I'm trans. Yes, that's difficult. It doesn't matter that this is what my identity is and this is what conflicts, because at the end of the day, I know that my Redeemer lives and therefore it's all going to be taken care of. It's literally saying the actual message is stop fucking worrying about your queer selves and just start worrying about fucking Jesus, because that's all what fucking matters. Fuck you and your exploitive propaganda bullshit that's here to make it, oh, look, these gay people are very fucking happy in the church. Look at these lovely, uplifting queers. They're so happy and they're singing this beautiful music. This song, which again, it is used as a trigger to make you think you are feeling the spirit when you're at church. It's kind of like it's got a pretty melody to it. It has a pretty message to it. If you believe in that message, it puts you into this sort of meditative state where you even said you felt chills because it's such a fucking pretty song, and it's meant to make you go, you know what, I have all of these doubts and I have all of these problems, but at the end of the day, I know that my Redeemer lives, and so what am I worried about? What is the problem if these gay people can be totally okay with the shit way they are treated by the church, with the shit way they are told not just that their identity is wrong, but to hate it because their identity is a sin and you must hate sin? Fuck you, the Mormon Church.
The odd thing to me is, like, you're gonna put together a video that shows probably one of the most difficult things that somebody can do if they're gay, and that is when they decide to tell their parents or their loved ones, and they depict this, and essentially what they're doing is condone. In a sense, it looks like they're condoning this action. They're not painting it in a bad light. They're painting that scene where he's up to the door and he's got the text and he's going to tell them, but yet they still maintain that hard line on homosexuality being wrong.
Right.
So they're lying. Essentially, this is an absolute lie. They act like they're condoning something that they absolutely don't.
Right, but also remember that they're going to come in and say you can be a gay Mormon, but you will find fulfillment through being a gay celibate Mormon, totally just wrapped up in his word. I did this video a while back about another guy called Jimmy, and his sister talks about, like, if you're gay, that's fine. I love you. blah, blah, blah. Who cares? It's fine. Also, I have a gay brother. He's a Mormon, and he's decided a life of celibacy. And he comes on camera, and he's like, hey, everyone, yeah, I know this is what my Redeemer wants. I have a testimony that the church is true, so I will do it. I will do it for Jesus, who gave up so much more. Only they haven't made the follow-up video to show you that right now he's living with his goddamn fiance in China, who is a man. Basically, they got to the point where that message didn't actually work for him. I'm happy for him. Don't get me wrong. I am so fucking glad he found a person to love and be loved by. I'm so glad that is the case. But he and his sister have a fucking social responsibility, because that video is still up, still being viewed by gay Mormon kids who are going in there and going, okay, I can keep hating myself. I can keep this because at the end of the day, God cares, when it didn't work for this guy who's encouraging them to hold with it. These things don't work. The people who do successfully go from being gay to being straight for the church, I've got mind-blowing news for you. Sexuality is a spectrum, and it turned out they were more bisexual than they realized, because you can't just turn it off. You can't program into the other way. That isn't how sexuality works.
Unless there's money involved.
Right.
Jimmy, we talked about, you and I talked before the show started about Tinder a little bit.
Yeah.
I was talking a few weeks back. I was talking to someone, and this is a gay guy, and it didn't go anywhere because he is such a devout religious person, and he I explained what it is that I do and what the show is about, that I do, and that was just almost offensive to him. And so there's this, and I've heard, I have friends that have been through the same thing. For some reason, there is a certain group of people who are gay who are just willing to ignore that whole part about it, calling as an abomination, or the way that people in the church feel about people who are gay. And for the life of me, I don't understand it. It's very different.
I think for a lot of people, this is my religion and my belief. It's so important to me and my family that I hold to it, that the easiest way to do it is to turn my back on the parts of the scripture, because it's not as though cherry picking scripture is new. That's an old thing. Sure. So I think that's what it comes down to. It is. Look, I don't own slaves anymore. I ignore that part of the Bible. I eat seafood. I don't, but some people do. I eat seafood. I eat shellfish rather. I wear mixed linens. I ignore that part of the Bible. So why not ignore these parts? And I know a lot of them attach right onto the fact that Jesus himself doesn't specifically say anything about homosexuality. And that to them is the big clue that Jesus didn't care. Also, hanging out with 12 dudes all day that he made leave their wives. So
questionable.
Yeah. Some people were asking to see the end of this. I'm sure I'm just going to get fucking raged again because I can't even remember.
Sure.
I know.
I know.
I know.
Wow.
Just total.
That's pretty blatant.
Right. They're also using the kind of imagery, they're using the kind of thing you see in modern progressive PSA kind of style stuff, things that are meant to reach at you and tug at your heartstrings. The individuals in this video are just a few of the many faithful LGBTQ members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Wow.
Let's see what it says after that. To learn more about their heartfelt stories and hear their beautiful testimonies of Jesus Christ, visit NorthstarLDS.org. I dare you to copyright strike this fucking one too. There's not a lot of people I wouldn't just delete the video for or delete the offending parts out. I would take this one all the way to goddamn court because of the fucking public optic. Let's fucking do this, Mormons. Okay, saying Mormons yeah, go ahead.
This is bothersome to me because of that statement right there. Just a few of, they're actively including them, like members of they're putting out the facade that they are accepting of these individuals while still maintaining a direct stance that is against who they are as an individual. What sort of sense does that make?
The whole thing is garbage, and it's, They are trying to, again, bait and switch. Look how loving we are. Look how great this is. Look at how close to Jesus you can feel. And if you come here, it won't take much, only sacrificing your very self and your very identity. But don't worry. If you can get through, 7 to 10 decades of this, when you die, at least you won't be gay anymore. Fuck these people.
Yeah.
Not all
I
Mormons. I love a lot of Mormons. I have a lot of Mormon friends, and a lot of Mormon people aren't the garbage that their church is. Now, don't get me wrong. They sometimes still hold to beliefs or defend beliefs that is that garbage because that's what religion is. It takes good people and it makes them say stupid, shitty things. Mm-hmm. And this is.
I think it's safe to say too that let's not be fooled here. This is not because the Mormon Church has seen the error of their ways and now wants to make right with people who are gay. This is all about money. Their numbers are dwindling. Yep. It's happening with all sorts of churches. Anytime the church makes a change to allow, like whether it be with the Episcopalians who allow gay ministers, now all of that is due to money. Right. It all comes down to money, not because they saw the error of the ways and they think this is the right thing to do. It's never going to be the reason ever. It's all about money.
Don't get me wrong. Like the innate bigotry of many of these leaders still does prevent them for a long time. It's literally like, okay, we're losing money. It's probably over this gay thing. What can we do that doesn't accept the people that I hate?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. It's very sad and very telling. I think if you needed an example of why religion in itself is such a it's a business. It's not. It cares nothing about ultimately your soul or your eternal salvation. It's all about the money. It always has been and always will be. That's why the Catholic Church back in the day would sell indulgences, because they saw an opportunity. They could, if you paid enough, you could have a room reserved in heaven. People bought that hook, line, and sinker, and it was a way to generate revenue. This is a way to keep from hemorrhaging people in the pews and for their coffers running dry. That's all that this is, period.
And it's the problem with, so for Mormons, they don't have, like with Catholics, a lot of people will just pay their like donations online and then not even go to church. And the Catholics don't even really give a shit half the time, depending on who it is. With Mormonism, you give 10% of your income. They might be able to do that online now, but it often is 10% is a significant, before taxes, by the way, 10% of your income to the church. You're often giving it in person, either with a check or cash in these little envelopes that you hand directly to the bishop. You have to do, and it requires people who don't attend don't pay tithing. That's just generally how it works. And so they have their setup in a way that we not only need people to be giving money because they're generally aware we exist and they come at Christmas and Easter, they have to keep people consistently coming because that's how you get the tithing. And they use guilt cycles, and they will threaten your salvation. They will threaten your afterlife if you don't give them that money. And so right now, all of those threats, people were basically like, it's hard to take those threats seriously when you're being so clearly not Christ-like, when Utah has such a high fucking suicide rate of LGBTQA children because they don't fit the fucking model of the family. And that's something they talk about, the proclamation to the family in the church all the time. This is supposed to be one of the great revelations that affirms heterosexual marriage as the only acceptable thing, that this is the only way families may look. They are straight up hurting people. They are straight up killing people. And when it all changes, when all the policy changes, when they finally say, you know what, gay marriage. And I don't think it's going to be, 10 to 15 years. I think they will allow you to be gay, baptized, and legally married, but they won't extend you temple marriage, which is the big one, right away. That'll come in the decades after. But they will have, you'll be able to be a partially participating member. And there will be special rules and setups for all that kind of stuff. And hopefully trans rights will come. They'll come slower because that's literally how it's been with society. It's going to come on a similar timeline to society. Right now, society is overall good with gay and bisexual people. Don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean they don't still go through a lot of shit, because there's still a significant number of people who aren't okay with that. But as far as a society goes, it's why it's now legal, and yet there is still a lot of obviously transphobia. So it's going to be slower to take care of trans people. It's also going to be slower to take care of asexual people, because asexuality is basically spitting in the face of their ideal of the family, that you're supposed to be here having children and all of that shit too. Not that asexual people obviously can still have kids, but you are supposed to look like the nuclear family. And so it is a, go ahead.
It's irony, I think, because the church, and this is any church, not just the Mormon Church, but the church will tell you, if you are not religious, that it's, and you might be gay, or you might have a hyperactive sex drive, pansexual, whatever it may be. They claim that you are obsessed with sex, that you have the issue, that your sexual proclivities aren't healthy. But in reality, and the irony thing is, the church has always been the one that is obsessed with sex, always, whether it be from the Catholic priests who cannot marry and have sex, which leads to what we've seen as really bad forms of abuse against children. They're obsessed with who you sleep with and in what position you do it, and if you're married or not, and how often. And it's just this church is obsessed with sex. It is not the person who says, okay, I know who I am, I know the kind of partner that I want, and I'm going to pursue that. That is not in any way, shape, or form unhealthy. The unhealthy aspect lies, and it always has lied, with the church.
Right. I think it was Hitchens who talked about, like, just as with sex, or just as with food, there are two kinds of people who are obsessed with sex. And so with food, it's people who starve themselves or people who overindulge. Those are the people who are generally obsessed with food. Same thing with sex. Those who starve themselves and those who overindulge. I've been in the overindulgence category a few times, but I digress. Try to lighten the fucking mode up here. Yeah. That was at their debate where it was Hitchens and Fry against the Ann Whitcomb, and best debate of all time, honestly. They changed nearly 20% of because they took a vote before and they took a vote after they went up there, and they changed 20% of the votes in that place. And it's just because there's nothing you can say back to it. That that Ann Monica lady Whitcomb.
Whitcomb. She was horrid. She just came across as a unapologetic, just stone faced. We didn't do anything wrong. This is what God says. And you just when you do that, don't play well.
The thing that really didn't help Ann Whitcomb's case is that, have you ever seen the animal version of Robin Hood? Like Robin Hood's a fox, Little John's a bear, I think.
Yes. Oh yes.
Ann Whitcomb sounded exactly like that rooster. And so the whole time she's talking, all I see is that rooster.
Yes. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Anyway. Okay. Well, I called this episode on my end, "Let's Spill the Real Tea" about this garbage Mormon stuff or something like that. And I hope I lived up to spilling the real tea.
I'd say so.
I can feel this happened yesterday too, but when you've been crying or you've been angry or something and you can feel it in your face and in your body, that for a while after, I guarantee you, until I go to bed tonight, I'm going to feel like I had just been fucking raging.
That's why I suggested this, because I felt it was something close to you, home for you. Yeah. And it was such a national story and an important one, because it not only does it show the hypocrisy of the church, but it illustrates the news is painting this out to be some sort of shining light moment for the church, and it's not. It shows that money can bend even God's will. That is the one thing that can bend God's will: money. If the silver lining to that is that less people will kill themselves, good. Sure. If because they're not going to just go away. The church isn't tomorrow going to announce, "Hey, we're it's all bullshit." And the church has already had so many scandals, and we've already listen.
if you're a Mormon and you're watching right now, your church has already been debunked. Your church has already been proven false. Go read the CES letter. The Mormon Church it's not like other religions that can live in the obscurity of age-old things, which, I mean, to a large degree, so it's Christianity, been debunked. But it's not like that, like, well, what do we know about what happened 2,000 years ago? You don't have that commodity. Joseph Smith was at my house like last week. Obviously, that's a joke, but we know he made it up. We know where he stole the details from. We know what bits of the Book of Mormon he plagiarized. We know he was a con artist, and that has been proven. Go read the goddamn CES letter. The church isn't true, and yet it somehow survived. Yet it's still growing somehow. It has somehow 17 million, I think it is, members right now, and that's going up, which is more than other religions we consider mainstream.
Wow.
It is.
Wait, hold on just a second. You said it has 17 members?
17 million.
So PewDiePie has more subscribers than the church has members.
Yeah.
That's a good thought. That's a good thought, actually.
I will tell you a benchmark in my head is that the day I pass in subscribers the number of members to the Mormon Church, if that ever should come, that would be an exceptional day. Brian,
I will pray it does, my friend.
Brian says 16.2 million. So yeah, let's get me to 16.3 million. That's the new goal. Can Jimmy get to 16.3 million before the Mormon Church does?
Wow.
Like and
that's odd to think about.
subscribe. But
So
at the end of the
PewDiePie has
day,
a bigger church than the Mormon Church. That's
right.
That's good. It's good.
But the church not being true and the church being proven not to be true won't end the church, because it hasn't. So it literally will take to have people hate themselves less. The best we can wish for is the church to change. Social pressure did it now. Keep fucking pressing. At fucking BYU, keep the protest going. Keep the honor code office on their goddamn toes and get those motherfuckers out of there. Seriously, it needs to be not just a protest that changes the way they act. Get everyone who's currently in the honor code office fucking out of there and get new people, because it won't be the same without that level of change. And the church, keep pressing, because the church isn't going to go away, even though it isn't true. But not soon anyway. I mean, eventually maybe. But it will definitely change before that happens. And, I call me radical, but I just really think that less dead children is better. I really do. I don't,
radical homosexual.
Yeah, or a white knight or whatever else. Also, people, I'm going to start putting my fan arts in the background, so send more fan art. There's an address in the descriptions.
Good talk. Good talk. I'm glad you got that out of your system. Yay.
It's not out yet. It won't be out of my system for years, but it was therapeutic nonetheless.
Next week, I think we should talk about those videos that I sent you last night.
Oh yeah, probably. Now,
If
okay.
you've
So,
ever-
real quick before we get on that, we need to talk about a couple things. One, we'll get to super chats here in a moment. I'm looking forward to getting to super chats because it's going to make me feel better, probably.
Sure.
Two, we will not be on at 9 o'clock Eastern time or 7 o'clock Mountain time, which is my time, next week. I promise. We won't even be on at 10 o'clock. We will either be on at 11 o'clock Eastern time, so 9 o'clock Mountain time, or 5 o'clock Mountain time, 7 Eastern time, depending on our schedules and how they work up. But I promise that for the next 8 weeks, we will not be on, because I don't want to be on, because I will be watching Game of Thrones as it comes out. I'll still be here in the studio, but I love all of you. But Game of Thrones is going to take priority for the next 8 weeks. It just will.
I have to agree with that. I have to agree with that sentiment.
Yeah.
We have to. Oh man, that's a whole other episode in itself. We shouldn't even start that.
Kyle and I
But
might
if you-
still be on the phone at that time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Can you believe it? If you've
Yeah.
ever asked the question, how can you milk gold from Lucifer's tit? We'll answer that for you next week, next Sunday at either 5 o'clock or 11 p.m. Eastern.
Oh man,
That was a
I
good
only got to browse. I only got to like skim through what you sent me, and it's already.
Oh, it's gold. It's gold. How to Have Sex with Demons.
Yeah.
It's amazing. This guy's amazing.
I think people are going to see me in a similar state to how I was during the butthole one, when you got a flame coming out your butthole.
Oh, this is epic. He literally the title of the video is "How to Milk Gold from Lucifer's Tit." That's all you need to know right there.
Nice.
All right, so let's get into super chats.
Okay. You want to go first?
Sure. And by the way, Nonbot will be up and running again tomorrow. I took her off for this one because I'm finishing uploading the rest of the redeemed stuff. You can redeem now for super chats, but I've got the people who have, and we'll redeem those tomorrow too. Solomon 109, $2 for having 2 flat earthers on. I guess that was from last night, but thank you for super chat. Vandy's 004, Kyle for best hair. I guess you've lost him, Jimmy.
I'm quite liking this because now for the longest time to do my bun I had to do it more up top. Now it's a little bit more back. Now it's a little more relaxed. I'm liking the new bun style personally.
Sandra person says, I have to donate here too. Thank you. AC Castillo, Mr. Atheist, I have dreamed of you in a sexy rant. Indigo Hanahan, fuck the cult.
Oh,
well, you say tomato, I say tomato.
Yeah, could be either.
Kuyasa, I wonder what the 3 Mormon show has to say about these changes. What do you think that would be? Jimmy?
I'm actually probably gonna message Kwaku. I think a lot of people who watched the charity stream were mad that at the end of it they were like, I kind of like Kwaku. Like, I think a lot of people were surprised to find out they kind of like Kwaku. I kind of like Kwaku too. I'll probably message him about it and see what he thinks. I know he's in favor of it. I'm positive of that. My understanding is, though I will verify this, that Kwaku has also been involved in these Honor Code Office protests, that he's protesting against it as well. So when Kwaku and I first became Facebook friends, he literally said like that we would have a lot in common on our like social and political views. So, but I'll find out more. Yeah.
Sure. AC Castillo, super chat with my message. Thank you. And then Sisfrido Serbia says, if Mormonism only cares for money when accepting homosexuals, where do gays fit? If atheism by definition would neglect them since they can't reproduce. Atheism by definition would neglect them. No, they...
Do you know what the definition of atheism is? And let me say this. Let me say this straightforward. There is one definition of atheism.
Wow, this is so disheartening.
I'm just trying to piss off Steve and all of his fans. Being atheist means you don't believe in God. Like, by that definition, why would atheism turn their back on? There's nothing to do with reproduction. And you are literally talking to two queers right now who are atheist.
Right, yes. And you say that if Mormonism only cares for money when accepting homosexuals, they don't accept homosexuals.
They don't.
They still
right
have a stance.
Yeah.
They still have a stance that actively discriminates against homosexuality. They bent the rules on one policy that they have just because people were making a deal to leave.
Yeah.
So that would affect their money. That's why I say they only care for money. If the people didn't threaten to leave, this would not be a change in policy, period.
It was a deal breaker, and they basically wanted a new deal. And honestly, the church, people in the church will look at this as progress. But again, it's not going to work because you have scorned now a lot of people that obviously this policy was disgusting, but the brethren, as they're called, never came out to defend it. It was the people in the churches on the ground, the everyday Mormons, that were tasked with defending it. And now they've basically just been told, psych, you know how you've been defending it and you like laid down your life on this being a fact? We kid.
There is 2 more here. My unfinished journey, eating Nilla wafers cereal in Kyle's honor. Excellent. That sounds
delicious.
It's great. I tried it last week for the first time. They're banana flavored like wafers, and then they have the meringue marshmallows inside of it to die. It's to die for.
That sounds really good.
And then Vandy 0004. Jimmy, you're just too mainstream now.
17 million. We'll make it 17 because that might be achievable. Let's get to 17 million subscribers before they get to 17 million members of the church.
There we go. All right, Jimmy, over to you.
And could people start sending me 10% of their income? I'm kidding. Saber 8M. The Mormons found rainbow scarves. I think that there's been demonstrations. That might be what Saber is referring to. People wearing rainbow scarves at demonstrations in front of like the temple and stuff like that in Salt Lake.
Mm-hmm.
Pandy Corn arrives. It's my 18th birthday today. Welcome to adulthood. And let me just tell you, the really great thing about turning an adult at 18 is that when you're 25, you'll realize you weren't an adult at 18. Am I wrong? Yes.
But happy birthday.
And then at 21, you'll feel it again. But at around 25, you'll be like, okay, finally, I made it to adulthood. But it is a big benchmark. When
you're 30, you'll cry. When you're 30, you'll cry.
I'm not going to. I'm counting down the days. That's happening for me March 5th next year. And I've been dying to be 30 since I was like 20. But
no.
I'm so you get taken more seriously, like you're dismissed less for being in your 20s. People, my understanding is people will stop when I say I'm not trying to have a family. They'll start believing me, all that.
They lied to you. Whoever told you this, they lied to you, Jimmy.
I'm sorry, but being in your 20s is like a cliche right now for dismissal. It's like a thing people dismiss people for. Don't get me wrong. Some people still try with people in their 30s. Like, I think they've tried with... How old is AOC?
Can we switch? Oh, man. I think 34?
29.
29?
Yeah.
Holy... Really?
We're the same age. I could be a Congress person. I'm running for Senate. I'm running for Senate. And if you thought AOC was insightful, not insightful, but inciting, wait until you see. You ain't seen nothing yet.
There's probably a better word for that.
Yeah, inciting.
Provocative.
Yeah. We'll be a power team. Mm-hmm. Amber Blackwell, hello to both of you. I'm very sick, so I can't stay, but I have so much love for both of you. I've mentioned before that you've helped me with my gender issues. That's why I'll donate whenever I can. Love you both. Thank you so much, Amber. That genuinely means the world. Yeah, we definitely do. Lauren, I'm grateful for both y'all's channels. But apparently was one super chat more grateful for mine.
That's okay.
I had to.
It's okay.
Taylor Riff. Love your content and I'm glad I can help contribute, even in a small way. Bill Ashby. Mike Pence has paintings of children being abused. Well, I need to Google that real quick. You go ahead and talk while I Google that. Mike Pence.
So how's it going, everybody? It's just the three of us here. Just you, me, and Jimmy. It's Jimmy waiting on Google.
Jimmy doesn't have any pants on.
I don't either. That's a running thing too. People think I'm joking, but literally, I told this story the other day. I ordered some fried pickles from a restaurant down the street, and we had two shows going on that night. And in the middle of it, they came, so I had to jump up really quick and go answer the door. And I completely forgot that I just had on a shirt and tie and a jacket from the waist up, and literally boxer briefs on the waist down. And when I opened the door, the guy looked at me like, "What is happening?"
I can't find this, Bill, so will you, we're friends on Facebook, so shoot me a DM with links to what you're talking about. Jody Johnson, thank you for being a voice against Mormonism. I left 16 years ago, and I wish something like your channel had been around when I was 15 and trying to do it on my own. What you do is so important. Honestly, I really, really appreciate that, but the CES letter is the thing I wish had been around when I was leaving the church. I mean, it genuinely is. It just is. It is. If you don't know, have I already told you what the CES letter is, Kyle?
You have not.
It's basically a guy wrote a letter to a CES director, which is a part of the church. It's like their education system. It's called the church education system. Anyway, listing out all of the reasons why he wasn't coming back because of all of these questions and conflicts to believing in the church. It's like 100-page document that just line by line, each line is another way the church is demonstrated to be false. Yeah.
Got it.
Just another Bucky lover. As an autistic person, I totally understand the people being too intense thing. It's fine to say I don't hug. If people get offended, that's their issue, not yours. Hope you are feeling well today. I get that, and I'm not trying to say like that you're burdening me or whatever. I know that it's a meaningful thing to a lot of people. And as somebody who has decided I want to try, as douchey as this sounds, I want to be a public figure, that it's something that it brings meaning to the people of whose lives you've touched and stuff to show that kind of that level of affection. So I'm still choosing to work on it. It's going to be uncomfortable, certainly the first few times. Don't get me wrong. There are some people I feel a great desire to hug. Like Brian in the chat said he was just going to fist bump me. Brian's one of the few people I would definitely hug if he wanted to hug me. It's just that with strangers and stuff, it is something that's tough for me, but I know it's something that's meaningful to other people. So I will do my best.
Yeah. I'm the complete opposite. I'm a hugger. Like I hug everyone, even people I don't know. I love it.
I might Christian side hug at first. That might be happening a lot.
Oh, that's the worst. No, that's even worse than not getting a hug. You should just not hug.
I control my angles so much on the show that like I feel like hugging will really it'll really give people firsthand knowledge to just how much of me there is. Okay.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. I don't care what you say. I'm hugging you.
No, I was going to hug you anyway. Again, there are some people I would definitely, that if I feel a type of affection for, I'm going to hug. It's the thing to get a grips on for me is strangers mostly.
Sure.
But I'm not at all saying just because that is my experience and that I feel I can do that, in no way am I saying anybody else needs to do that or should do that. So if anybody wanted to weaponize that and be like, you can't get over hugging, but Jimmy can, no, that would be wrong of you. My experience and my ability to adapt to things is not reflective of any other individual's experience. Just want to put that out there. Mm-hmm. A Sandring person, I think you're a good person even though we disagree on a lot of things. You know, I feel the same. I really think a Sandring got a really shit rap. I didn't see the live chat in there. I think he said something. I think he said something, a position he had that was nuanced. But because that wasn't the focus of what we were talking about, people took that to some conclusions that were not what he meant.
Agreed. Real quick, let me throw in the Mab Jocelyn says, Kyle, I appreciate you. Thanks. Thank you. I appreciate you too.
I love Mab. Mab's on my channel quite often too. Great.
We love you, Mab.
Yeah. Love you. Snailbird, missed some of your streams, but I'm back in town. Also, Kyle and I also missed a stream last week. You were on a plane. You were on a plane, and I was moving the desks into this location.
I was actually in Washington. I got an 18-hour layover coming from marrying Godless Engineer in KC, and so apparently not that many flights from Huntsville, Alabama to North Carolina. So I had a layover in Washington D.C. for 18 hours.
And how was it? Wink.
It was great. I got a hotel. I went and had this amazing beer and burger joint in the middle of DC, and then I went and saw the Lincoln Memorial. It was fantastic.
Nice. Katie Hunting says, bedtime snuggles with my 1-year-old. Her name is Trakana. Watching your video to help her relax for bed. This is much better than watching General Conference. I think that probably came in before I got a little yelly. So I'm sorry if my yelling might have...
Good luck relaxing after that.
Yeah, I'm not relaxed. I'm not going to bed for days now. Indigo Hanahan, fuck the cult. Yeah, again, the people are lovely, but Mormonism is not. Monet Flores, I guilt denied my atheism for years. You helped me. That is amazing. And I think that is a common experience, that guilt stops you from acknowledging what you already know about yourself. I think that's... unfortunately all too common. Kay says, a little something just cuz. Thanks so much for all the work you do on your channel and for creating a fantastic community. So pleased to be a sub. I'm not going to make a joke about how I'm so pleased to be a dom. But thank you.
We were all thinking it.
Everyone was, yeah. I'm just putting the words out loud. Lisa Marie, been watching ex-Mormon videos. New name Noah is one. I don't know who that is, but I'm gonna put it in my Google right now, and I will check it out. I love seeing, especially, I don't know if that's a new or an old content creator. I know that when I started up, okay, they look like they got some time under them. When I started up, I knew one of the things that I didn't like was that it seemed like most Mormon content creators were podcasters, and I was like, hey, there needs to be more Mormon YouTubers, ex-Mormon, rather. And so, yeah, these look like lots of exposed videos. This looks like that might be kind of fun to check out. We will, we will see.
Add it to watch later.
See. Redneck Lover. Hello, Bob. Being Southern Baptist and gay was 100% incompatible. Yeah.
Yes.
No shit. The Southern Baptists were telling me as a child that I was going to hell for being a Mormon. So being gay, I can only imagine what that.
Actually, and I was a member of the Independent Baptist. So if it's the answer to the question, what could be more right than the Southern Baptist? Independent Baptists are way more crazy.
I didn't address, for anyone who's new to me, I didn't address my sexuality outside of what would be considered heterosexual until the last couple of years. So growing up as a child, it was not the, I didn't have to go through that, though apparently everyone knew besides me. Dalton, binged Elf on the Shelf today and heard sermons today. My mom was listening to saying the problem is in us and only God's grace will allow you to transform your life. The problem there is she is saying that the problem with humans is humans and that God's grace can save humanity from humanity. So now simply ask, who told her that? Was it God or a human?
Has to be God.
I suspect it was a human. Hey, it's Mab Joslin. I'm so glad Jimmy lives and is alive. 5 of the 7 days of each week, I'm glad I'm alive too.
Amen.
That might have been a joke in poor taste if I didn't mean it at least a little.
Amen.
Living with anxiety is a bitch. All right, Callie, thanks for everything y'all are doing. You're literally saving lives. The truth will set us free. Thank you very, very much. I hope my rant changes one person's mind about the church. That'd be wonderful. I mean, away from the church, not changes their mind toward the church. That would be counterproductive. Yeah. 3 seasons. Recently became an atheist because of your videos. No God for me equals struggle to be happy because of depression. Any advice? God felt like my only friend. Okay. So first of all, definitely not your only friend. And there are tons and tons of communities. You can often find them through like meetup.com. You can find them in different Discords, depending on if you're a member of the LGBTQA plus community. Not that other people aren't welcome there too. I know that a lot of people join my Discord because they find a lot of acceptance there. Specifically, that obviously you're welcome there too, and you will definitely find friends. If you're more into controversy and arguing whether or not triangles exist, there's the NonSequitur Discord. Find friends. That is my number. Find community. Find people who think like you. That is going to help a whole lot. And I do want to say, you said you became atheist because of my videos, and I disagree with you completely. You became an atheist because you gave yourself permission to think critically. I'm glad to have helped, but all of the credit goes to you.
And I will be happy. You can you can definitely join our Discord, and I will be happy to be a friend of yours. Just send me a message.
Hell yeah. Caitlin Smart says, I have a very high libido. Go ahead, everyone. Take your shots. They take a shot every time I say that. Bill Ashby, Ann Whitcomb was a member of our government. That is true. Was an MP. Yeah. Wow.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Android on mute. In one of our fights, I asked my dad who gay marriage hurts. He said it hurts him. His argument is essentially, these people don't deserve equal rights because it offends me. Yeah. That's a fucking shitty.
Oh, well.
And Ted Cruz has been kind of doing this too, and I've noticed a lot of, or he did at least around the last election, and I noticed a lot of his followers have this idea of like, well, if you're going to let gays get married because of religious freedom, what about my right to my religious freedom and my right to live in a place where gay marriage doesn't exist because that offends my religious freedom?
Go to the Middle East.
It's a ridiculous. Tell your dad to stop being such a snowflake because that'll definitely piss him off.
Book a plane to the Middle East. They don't allow it there.
I hate when people try to unironically use snowflake. It immediately just annoys me. Mm-hmm. Especially because that would have been the perfect thing to call my subscribers. Jimmy Snow, Snowflakes, welcome snowflakes. Instead, I had to go with Snow Angels. That's 3 syllables. It takes too much time.
Take it over. Take ownership of it.
I don't think people would like that. Mab Joslin again. Summer Mormon fam reunion. Crew of 3 known LGBTs gearing up to have fun no matter what. 4 months early. Got to plaster some pride flags for doors and windows. Hell yeah.
There you go.
It'd be interesting. I would almost love to do anyone from the time I lived in Florida, maybe Tennessee on, anyone who I was like grew up as a Mormon with who are now ex-Mormons. That'd be kind of a cool thing to do, but it'd be so hard to track everyone down. Triateol. Using I know my Redeemer lives for this makes me furious. I know the church is all lives, but it made me feel how I did when I believed. Yeah, there are a few songs that are that way. And in fact, I've tried to take back some of them, but there are a few songs that are it's like hypnosis. They trigger your I feel the spirit sensation because that's what music does. I mean, that's not a non-understood phenomenon. So yeah, that's I completely understand what you're saying there. But there was an apostle, maybe a prophet, but an apostle who said, you can't think dirty thoughts, and he doesn't think you could sin if you're singing I'm a child of God in my head, which is another one the Mormons do. And so now I try to sing it every time I'm having sex, and frankly, I can't have a boner without it anymore. It's like
nice.
it's such a monotone song too. I don't know why it's so important to Mormon culture because it's seriously, this is the song. I am a child of God and he has sent me here. So it's in a major key. It only has like a 6-note range. Has given me an earthly home with parents kind and dear. It's not a good song. But it's like it's like the Mormon anthem almost. Well, Spirit of God's probably the Mormon anthem.
What can you do?
That one's all about Joseph Smith. Yeah.
Of course it is.
Yeah, and then we also have We Thank Thee, O God, for a Prophet. This song is super fucking culty. Sinvia. Can we pray to God that it stops raining here, please? We can, but I don't think it's going to help. Caitlin Smart, yeah. Can I send fan art even if I can't draw it? Let me tell you, I've received a number of fan arts that is indeed the case, but they still are very touching. And if you send digital ones, I'm going to be bringing my Canon printer from my photography days. They're not really behind me, but I'm focusing on this more. I'll be bringing my Canon printer here, and I'll be printing out digital work to put back there as well. Rowan Keller, Church of Land Daddy Saints. Do you want to be? Go. That's the new LDS. Don't call us Mormons. Hang on. Here we go. Baby Avery says, you're doing great, Beebs. I know, Avery. You're lovely. Thank you so much. The ex-Hindu atheist, you both are a lethal combo. You know, I really agree with that. I don't want to brag, but our debate win to loss ratio is 400-0. You know what I'm referring to? You know what I'm talking about. Okay. It's kind of an inside joke with all of our Twitter friends. I actually made a video about it though, but we had a guy who kept challenging us to debates who said his debate win-loss ratio was 400-0.
That's it.
That was from the Ex-Hindu Atheist. Go ahead.
Clyde Blassingale says, I think this is the first time I've seen two LGBTQ atheists or non-religious guys. Thank you for representing. You're welcome. Taylor Rife says, glad I found your channel. I'm looking forward to pursuing your content. I am not looking forward to you pursuing your content. It will raise your blood pressure. Please don't watch too many in one day. It should not ever be binged. And I apologize in advance, but nonetheless, good luck to you. I'm glad you found us, though.
Go to their videos and sort by how many people have viewed, and you'll get some really good stuff up there. But limit yourself to like 2 a day.
2 a day.
Yeah,
we don't. We don't recommend it anymore. The doctor. Yeah, medically, you can't do more than like 4 a day. That's just crazy.
Yeah, that would be bad for you. Queen C.
But I'm glad you found us.
You'll want to answer this too. Queen C. Do you think Daenerys will win the throne?
Yes.
I think they're gonna die. I think Jon and Dany and
Jon,
Cersei. Yes. I think I think they will die, and the king will either be Bran or Tyrion or what is Theon's sister's name?
Theon Greyjoy. She's dead, isn't she?
No. She's still being held by her uncle.
I thought they panned out with her. Hung on. Oh, that was her girlfriend. Never mind.
No, yeah, at the very end, Theon is off to save her. And I think there's a chance that's the whole reason she was introduced. I would love to see Brienne as Brienne of Tarth because she's like the most humble person.
Sure.
I think this is going to end with barely anyone alive. I think almost everyone is going to die.
Maybe it'll be Jaime because I think he's going to wind up killing Cersei, and maybe he'll take the throne.
I would love to see Jaime, because they're already open now to the idea of like a dual throne pairing, because that seems to be what they're implying will happen with like Jon and Dany. I would love to see Jaime Brienne together. That would be like they should get married for sure. Though a lot of people want the Hound. No, not the Hound. They want the ginger guy. Why can't I remember anybody? Mormont. They want Mormont to end up with Brienne. I'm sad that there's not really any gay characters left. Like Stannis's brother isn't. He's gone.
It's too good. It's too good. I hate that it's ending. Like, why can't they just go on forever? Please
don't worry. It sounds like spin-offs are coming though.
Good. Hell yes.
LC with love from Tennessee. I was born in Tennessee. I don't tell a lot of people that. Truckin' Ape. Not for any reason besides it's just kind of random. I was born on an Air Force base in Tennessee. Truckin' Ape, former Mormon, raised in Utah, current truck driver, traveling the country. No joke. I'm passing through Denver on I-70 eastbound right now, snacking on zebra cakes and listening to you honk honk. I probably heard your honk. I'm not terribly far from 70 right now. I've mentioned it before. They are my favorite like little dessert cake thing. They're so good.
Totally.
But you can tell. So I used to live in Tennessee also, and we lived right by a Little Debbie factory, and you could get them fresh, and there's nothing better than fresh zebra cakes.
The Sandring says, I would love to have a three-way with both of you. You're both beautiful people with good hearts. What you guys do is valuable to the community. I disagree with many of your policy solutions. Wow, that covered the gambit.
That's everything. Yeah.
Thank you,
sir. We're actually going to be giving away a three-way with Kyle and I as when we hit 1 million subscribers. That's the 1 million subscriber reward.
Oh man, I didn't prepare for this.
both channel for 1 million subscribers, and then we're doing it as a raffle. Not really, and I'm saying that both to the people who think maybe there's a chance and to the U.S. government. We're not really going to do that. Miranda Dixon, my Facebook is blowing up. 8 more Mormon temples being built. Yay. Billions of dollars. So frustrating. You think God would be more honored by service? Shaking my head. Yeah. Those decadent buildings that Jesus wouldn't step fucking foot in. A fucking foot in, rather. Max Hopkins, just turned 28 this week. Still don't feel like an adult. I feel like an adult because I'm so worn down and tired all the time. And just like everything's expensive. Just life is expensive. Yeah, I'm not saying feeling like adult means you feel like you got anything together or anything like that. But I am that kind of sub too. That was from the sub dom thing earlier. Treya Tail, new name Noah, secretly taped the endowment and wedding ceremonies at the temple. You need to see those. Then I probably have seen, because I've definitely seen the endowment ceremonies. The wedding ceremony, I think I saw too, but I know I saw that one for sure. Magador Spartacus. I thought you were starting off with some MAGA shit. I almost bought some British Smarties today. Best candy in the world, British Smarties. Kyle, did we lose you? Well, I think we might have lost Kyle there. Hopefully everyone else can still see me. Mason McSwain says, libido, take another shot. Burning Shadows, 2 make you laugh for your ass phantom, Charlie. Give it up for the ass phantom. Queen C, did you lose friends when you started questioning? Yeah, I definitely did. And then I had people who very aggressively tried to bring me back and bear their testimony and shit. Lakota Stewart, y'all give me sanity as an LGBTQ plus member living with 5 clueless college roommates. Thank you. Yeah, that's got to be rough. I hope you're not at BYU. I really, really hope you're not at BYU. Mab Joslin, the wad of God made me. I think we have a couple more here. I just need to hit refresh. Dalton, working at Pride Walk and Pride Fest at my uni the next 2 weeks. First event I'm working as openly pan Grace. Also, promo consent as it is SAAM. Thank you. No, thank you. Jacow, love you, Jimmy, but no homo. Don't want to scare any Mormons off. I mean, a little homo's fine. I mean, a lot is too, but I'm just saying, like, you could permit yourself a little homo every now and then. Eska Book, Mr. A, my grandpa said I was living in sin because I wasn't married and living with my BF. Now I'm married and sinning because I don't go to church. I can't win and don't know how to respond without anger. Advice. That one's hard because it's your grandpa and you're probably not going to change his mind. But I would recommend in those kinds of situations, look up street epistemology and learn how to ask questions that try to introduce doubts into other people's beliefs, and ask more questions than you are asserting things. You didn't lose Kyle. This is from Laney Face. You didn't lose Kyle. He's just holding really still and being really quiet. Okay, well that is a relief. And Vandy004, Kyle has been replaced by a discount garden gnome. He's going to be happy to hear you said that. Lakota Stewart, nope. Ironically, a very liberal Big 10. Good. I mean, that helps. Yeah, I'm definitely glad you're not at BYU because that would be a nightmare. Okay, Kyle's power has just gone out. This is most likely because God is upset. The existence of God has now been confirmed. We reverse everything we just said. No, of course not. But it does sound like Kyle lost power. So I assume I'm still going out on his channel, so I can just say anything. The only thing is that if I were to ruin his channel, I couldn't do that without ruining my own. Lisa Marie says, libido. Everyone take a shot. Sending you an email after got questions. Sounds awesome. I will do my best to get to that quickly, but I am so bad at replying to emails. However, you did warn me that it's coming, so that does help. All right. This episode, someone mentioned that the Mormons demonetized Kyle. Yes, this episode and yesterday's episode will undoubtedly be demonetized. I think yesterday's already is. Somehow, my episode from Friday, where I was, what did I do Friday again? What did I do Friday? Something about, I reviewed memes from Dank Christian Memes. That video is still demonetized. It did not survive review just because there's one picture of an inflatable penis. I imagine that's the problem. Brutus Magnuson says, Stewie Oso loves having his button rustled, and I assume you wanted me to do that as Stewie Griffin, so let me get into the voice here. Stewie Oso loves having his button rustled. Oh, yes, hit my button. All right. I think that's it for us tonight. Thank you all so much for joining. It was honestly nice to get all of that off my chest. I was very nice to them on Thursday because it took a whole live show to really tell y'all how I feel about it. But otherwise, I will see you later in this week. A Sandering Person, I did send you a message on Discord, Jimmy. I will go and check that out. I know I'm way behind on Discord messages too, but I will go look for that. But yeah, that is it for us tonight. As always, I'm Mr. Atheist. Oh man, I fucked that up. I'm Jimmy. Mr. Atheist wasn't my father, or if it's from the other show, I'm Jimmy Snow. What the hell do I know? Thank you all so much for joining. I love you all. Mwah.